What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, I was diving in Twitter, seeing what's going on, and I realized that there was a little itty bitty message from the developers of Helldivers 2 saying, "Oh, we're here. We're looking into the bugs and the crashes and all that stuff, and boopity boop, talking about some something about the servers and 300. There was 220,000, max instances or whatever you want to call it, and they upped it to 360 concurrent, I guess, players that they can handle, and all these things, all the excuses. It's like, okay, well, if your game is a super huge hit, right, and you want people to play it, right, you would scale up your server capacity so that you could have more players playing, so you can brag about your numbers. But where does the fault lie in the inadequacies of what's happening with Helldivers 2 on the server side? Besides the actual game bugs and stuff like that, I'm just talking about server stuff. Now, you never hear of an Xbox game. You never hear them come out and say, "Oh, our server capacity is really big and we can't handle it." No, they don't say that. They say, "Yeah, we're gonna fix it," and it's fixed because they put some more servers on it. That's what they do. So why is this happening on a PlayStation game? You wonder why. You wonder why Sony sucks at multiplayer games. I mean, you could have figured it out. It's not that hard of a math problem. And the fact of the matter is, they suck at multiplayer games because they have no servers. Their servers are rented from Amazon. I believe they're using Amazon. And I'm not saying Amazon servers suck. No, of course not. But if you're using someone else's servers, then you have to deal with whatever issues or shortcomings, whether it's on Sony's side. I would assume it's on Sony's side because they don't have the expertise in servers and all that stuff. They don't even have. This is the thing I don't understand about Sony. They don't even have a movie server. I mean, the Crunchyroll stuff that they bought, and that's a whole nother story. Crunchyroll and Funimation. Yo, look. You know the FTC and the CMA. Well, not CMA, but the FTC is crooked because Funimation. They're shutting down Funimation, right? For just Crunchyroll, right? Everybody who bought stuff from Funimation, whatever, oh well, your stuff is gone. And they're doubling the price of the Crunchyroll sub. And I'm like, how is this? And this is monopoly. They literally have the only anime streaming in the world, I believe. So I'm like, this is, they're just doing whatever they want to do and they get away with it, right? Anyway, back to the crappy Helldivers 2 servers. Now, if this was Xbox, this wouldn't be an issue. But there would be other issues besides that. This is bad, and the frame rate, or whatever. They would come up with something because that's what happens in this industry today. So my thing about Helldivers 2, right, and the freaking dumbass media, I'm gonna call them that, is that games have been out for like 3-4 days now, and no reviews, no critic reviews. I'm like, what is this? I know it didn't get any, advanced copies, but how come it's taking so long to review this game? That's some bullshit. They're trying to review it after the bugs are fixed. This is bullshit. Why? I swear, man, it's like this industry is so crooked. I'm looking at it and I'm like, y'all are just blatant about it. And I'm glad that they're blatant about it because, then you can see, okay, you suck. Everybody who hasn't reviewed it sucks. It's just, whatever, yo. It's like, that's what it is. And I'm not saying it's a bad game, but if this was an Xbox game, it would have got pre-reviewed off of whatever, and it would have got dogged. It would have been a 6 out of 5, 6 out of 10, 6 out of 5, 6 out of 10, or something like that, right? But no, they're holding off reviews. You see how the special treatment happens? You see how all this is happening? And, nobody's saying nothing. I mean, at least Gas came out and says, why is it 3 days and no review? What's going on? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I agree. Where's the reviews? Where's the reviews about the bugs? Huh? You didn't say no bugs about Spider-Man, and you ain't saying no bugs about Helldivers 2 because, it's a PlayStation something exclusive or whatever, console exclusive. And I'm like, all right, well, you know what? All these things that are happening, right? I don't believe in karma per se, but there is a way that these things will happen that will come back to haunt these outlets, to haunt the people who aren't really being genuine about, what they do, or they're in the pocket of Sony, so they have to be a certain way. That'll come out, and then you just might as well consider IGN a Sony outlet, a Sony website, a Sony publication, because that's how it's treating the industry. That's how they're treating Sony. So I'm like, all right. But, it's kind of funny to me that, the reviews aren't out. They come out with this statement, oh, we're going to fix this, we're going to fix that, but we can't because our server partners suck, or whatever they said. I'm paraphrasing, but I'm like, man, this is so goofy. This is the goofiest things I've ever seen in the internet. And I don't think I've ever seen this type of bias or this much bias. I mean, maybe during the Nintendo versus Sega Master System, NES versus Sega Master System, because Sega Master System was just dog. I loved it, but it was treated like less than. You know what I mean? It was just like it didn't exist. It was just Nintendo, and it was based purely off of the amount of games, not so much the quality of games, because overall the quality of NES games were hot trash garbage. There were some good, really good games. Zelda, Castlevania, I'd even say RC Pro-Am was okay. I love pro wrestling. That's my favorite. It was Starman. You hit him in the head go down. Anyway, I had the song of the pro wrestling game, the NES pro wrestling game, in my mind the other day, and I couldn't get it. I still can't get it out, and it's because I played that game so much, and it's like I think it's like a 16-bar loop or something like that, and it's ridiculous, and that's all it does for hours and hours and hours. You're playing that game. Anyway, sorry for the tangent. But yeah, I don't think since that time have I seen such bias, like super strong bias. I mean, there's always been sides and stuff, like Sega versus Nintendo. Sega does when it was Nintendo. Genesis versus Super NES and stuff. And people were still kind of like, oh, SNES is really cool, but they kind of screwed the sound on that. How they did the music and the sound was a lot of samples, low bit samples, and the Genesis was just synthesizers, hardware synthesizers, so it sounded better, clearer, cleaner, better stereo separation, all that good stuff on the Genesis. But there were pros and cons. Like NES had what was it called? Scale, 7 scale, 6, the scale thing. Hardware scaling. Mode 7, Jesus. And and Sega did not. They figured out how to do software scaling eventually, but it was like really late in the generation. But anyway, back to modern gaming. The bias is real, the tax is real. As much as people wanted to poo-poo it and say no, it's being proven day in and day out, and they try to position it as, oh, it's because nobody has an Xbox, everybody has a PlayStation. That's what the tax is. And I'm like, that's not an excuse, because if you're a journalist of video games, you have everything. You play everything. That's what it is. It's like, oh, my preference is X. I work in the video games industry as a journalist. My preference is PlayStation, so I won't buy an Xbox. How does that sound? How does that work? How do you cover video games if you're not covering a giant percentage of the video games? Because whether you like it or not, Xbox represents a big portion of video games in the grand scheme of things in the industry. As far as console games, you got PlayStation, you got Nintendo Switch, you got Xbox. Now, if you look at, I'm not talking about sales, I'm talking about specific and different games that come out. And when you look at that, then you can see, oh, Microsoft puts out a bunch of games, Nintendo puts out a bunch of games, Sony puts out, well, not this year, they're not putting out a bunch of games. They're publishing some games because they bought them, but so first party stuff. And you look at that representation as far as games, Microsoft is in there. Equal to, I would say, everybody's kind of equal as far as the amount of games coming out. I know Microsoft was super light in 2022, but last year was good. This year looks pretty good. And this is first party game. If you want to go, PlayStation, they ain't got no games, no first party games. They got 0 games this year. 0 games this year. And so this 2024 is PlayStation's 2022. As compared to Xbox. So, what goes around comes around, you know what I'm saying? So, and people are ignoring that. They're like, oh, we have Helldivers too. It's like, that's not your game. You're not making money off it. I mean, you are because you publish it, but you're not making all the money. And that's a lot of the problems with PlayStation's business model, is that they don't own a lot of the IP that's making them money. Like Spider-Man is not making them money the way that it should, because they have to pay Disney a ginormous amount of money to have that license. And that I'm laughing at PlayStation, and I'm giving a dab to Disney, because Disney is very upset about the fact that they can't grab Spider-Man back from Sony for the movies, because they keep making these garbage ass games. I was out last night and I saw, when we walked through a movie theater, and I saw a freaking ad for Madam Web, and I'm like, and the person I was with, like, oh, that's a Spider-Man. We got to see that. It's Marvel. I'm like, no, we don't. No, we're not going. Nope. Nope. Because that's trash, hot trash garbage. And I had to explain to her how the Sony movies that aren't produced by Marvel, Kevin Feige, not made by Marvel, paid for by Sony, those movies are trash. The movies that Sony actually makes themselves, that are Spider-Man movies in the Spider-Man universe, are trash pretty much all the time. Now you can say, oh, Venom was okay. Fine, you'll get an okay, but you won't get, that was, let's go. Except for, I always say the Spider-Verse movies are good, but they hire Lord and Miller, people who know how to make good movies, to make the movies. But everybody else was like, what's going on? Why? Just hire Lord and Miller to do all of your Spider-Man movies, and you'll be straight. But I get they probably don't want to do that. They don't want to do a Craven movie, right? Like, what? Imagine Lord and Miller doing a Craven movie. It wouldn't fit. Anyway, back to sure, we're talking about Sony business model and all that stuff. And look, I've listened to David Jaffe kind of poo-poo Sony and what they're doing, and he's kind of a good barometer, because A, he used to work for Sony. B, created God of War, Twisted Metal, many other things. C, he's an outspoken individual who doesn't give a F about what people say. He just, look, this is his opinion, boom, that's what's up. That's what I appreciate about David Jaffe. I don't agree with him 100% all the time, but for the most part, he's pretty much right. He's pretty much dead on, and he's like a straight shooter, you know what I'm saying? So, I listened to him and how he's been talking about PlayStation for the past, couple weeks, and he's like, yo, Sony's lost their way, they're in trouble, and I'm like, first of all, yes, he's a talking head, but he used to work there. He has firsthand knowledge. He knows people who works there. So it's not like he's just some nobody who knows nothing, just a fan. He has firsthand knowledge of the workings and all these things, and he has obviously knowledge of the video game industry, because he was a producer, creator, and all these things. And so when he says something like, yo, even though you know, his last game was like a failure, and that's mainly because he tried to make it something that he didn't want to make it. He wanted to make it just like a single player game, but I guess the people they like, you know, multiplayer, blah blah blah, and then it kind of like went off the rails, as these things usually do. But anyway, sorry for the tangents and stuff, but yo, let me know in the comments below what y'all think about, you know, David Jaffe's take on PlayStation A and Sony's business model B, and the whole Helldivers 2, you know, not living up. Well, not living up, but I mean, you know, requiring some help as far as patches and such, and the reviewers not reviewing. That's some bullshit right there, you know what I mean? It's not good. So I don't know, man. It's all crazy. But anyway, I'm on 95. I gotta stop talking and start concentrating on this crazy road. But I appreciate y'all hanging out. Like and subscribe. And I'll talk to y'all on the next one. Till the wait.